Hi all, thanks for watching this video. So we have seen very thoroughly about the single node installation. So today we are going to discuss about the multi-node cluster installation. So if you did not watch my previous video, please pause here and try to watch that video, which I've already shared with you all. So here, what we are trying to do here is we are going to put three computers together and we are going to make it as a cluster that is called. I'm going to, since we have already seen how to install Linux, on top of that how to install Java, on top of that how to install our Hadoop framework with a single node cluster, we have seen very clearly. So today what I'm going to show here is to put that all single node cluster together, and I'm going to make it as a multi-node cluster. So this is very simple concept. So what we are going to do here is we are going to make three computers together and we are going to make it as a one cluster actually. So let's go ahead and see one by one. So you can see here on my screen, you can see there are the three computers are there: node 1, node 2, and node 3. The node 1 is having the host name as the master node, I'm sorry, and its IP address is this one. And the node 2, okay, node 2 and its host name as a slave node 1, and its IP address is this one. And the node 3, which is my computer 3, and its host name as a this one, and my IP address of my node 3 is this one. So don't worry about how to set the host name and all. I'm going to show now in my next step. So let's go ahead and see this one by one. Okay, and again I'm repeating. So we are keeping all these single node clusters together to make it as a multi-node one. So if you're not sure about how to do the single node cluster, please try to replay my single node cluster video. Okay, so now the first step that we are going to do here is we are going to update the host name for the computer. So here, instead of like, okay, once you create the single node cluster, what you can do, you can just clone that one using your Oracle virtual machine, and you can use that one also with the one more machine. So you have to clone 2 times, so that way also you can do this one, but at least you have to perform the one single node cluster successfully. Okay, so once that is done, we have to change the host name, so which is nothing but your computer name accordingly. So in order to change your computer name, you have to go into this particular directory and then you have to run the this command. Okay, so let's go ahead and see that one. I have already set my this one, so let's go ahead and see this one. And one more thing here is I have already started my virtual machine. These are not the physical machines, these are virtual machines actually. So I have already started the virtual machines. I have connected to them using my PuDI. So you can see here one master node, slave node 1, and slave node 2. These are the three computers I have connected using my PuDI. So let's go ahead and first and foremost thing, let's target our master node. From there, we are going to perform one by one, step by step. Then we are going to copy the same thing to other data nodes also. So let's go ahead and see that. And one more thing that you have to understand here is my master node is going to work as a master node as well as slave node, which is nothing but I'm going to enable the master services as well as the slave services. So here, one thing you have to understand here is we have to, like I said, we have to update our host names here. So let's go ahead and do our first step. Let me just view that one so that you can see that one. So let's go ahead and perform my first step. I'm going to go into this path and I'm trying to update by host name. So vi etc sysconf network. Okay. So here, let me go ahead and sudo. Okay. And the hd user is my password. So you can see here, I have already set the host name as a master node. Okay, so all you have to do here, probably you might be seeing as a local host, so you have to change that one to master node, whatever you want to do, whatever name you have to give to your node, you have to keep that one here. Okay, so this is commented one, so you can delete this one, so you don't have to keep this one here. Okay, I'm just deleting this one. Okay, so now I'm going to coming out of this file. Okay, that's all we have to do, updating your master host name for your computer. So same thing you have to do for your slave nodes also. Okay, what is that? Sudo vi, okay, etc sysconfig network. Okay, so HD user, that's all. You have to update the host name. So here you might be seeing the different one, so try to update the whatever name that you wanted to give. You have to update this one. Okay, so since I'm not writing anything here, I'm just quitting without writing anything here. The same thing you can see with my slave node 2 also. Okay, sudo vi etc sysconfig network. Okay, can you see now here? That is what host name and slave node 2. So that's all. So we have done this one. So in order to see your changes reflected to as a host name, so you have to restart these machines actually. So first and foremost thing, you have to restart your virtual machines. How to do that? So you have to sudo init 6. So this is going to restart that one, and again you have to reconnect back to the computer using your putty. Okay, so I'm not going to do this one because if I type this one host name, once you are successful, you should able to see your host name as a slave node 2 for your slave node 2. Probably if you go back and see master node, you can see this one host name master node. The same thing with my slave node 1 also. Okay, host name slave node. So probably if you are not restarting your virtual machine, you are not able to see this one. So first and foremost thing what you have to do, you have to restart your virtual machine, not a host computer, virtual machine again. Okay, that's all we have to do in our step 1. Let's move on with our step 2. I have clearly written in my document also. I'm going to share this one with you all, so don't worry about this typos and all. So I'm going to share with you this document also. So the next thing here is update the host name and its respective IP addresses in each node's host file. So what is this means here is, in order to make all these computers as a cluster, in order to make sure that these 3 computers are talking to each other, I need to update the host name and its corresponding IP address in the host file. So how we are going to do? You can see this one. So we have to go all the way into etc host file and we have to update this one. Okay, can you see now here? So instead of here, so it should be 11. Okay, so now let's go ahead and copy this one and put it in the notepad, and I'm going to copy the same thing by opening. So let's go ahead and do in the master mode first. Okay, vi etc hosts. Okay, can you see now here? There is no any files or any host names and its corresponding IP address to talk each other. So what you have to do, you have to copy. So by doing this way, my master node can talk to my slave node 1 and slave node 2 as well as my master node also. So just go ahead and update this. So we have to repeat the same thing to this one also. Okay, enter the tag. What happened? Okay, sorry. There is some. Okay, I did not go into sudo mode. Okay, so that is my problem. I don't have a read access my host file. That is the reason. So that is good thing actually. So you have to always go into the using your super user. Okay, sudo is a super user. Okay, so now same thing. I'm going here. I'm inserting this data and I'm just coming out of this. Okay, so now in order to make sure this is working fine, what you have to do here is just ping google.com. Sorry, google.com. Okay, whenever excuse me, whenever you see this 0% packet loss is nothing but we are connecting successfully with this host action. The same thing you can make sure using pinging your slave node 1 also. Okay, just control C to end this process. If you are not doing that one, it will keep on going with that way. So you can see here 0% packet loss, which is nothing but I am successful connecting my slave node 1 using my master node. The same thing you can do with the slave node 2 also. This can be done only by updating your host file with this host name and its IP address. Okay, so that's all. The next step that we have to do. The same thing we have to repeat for our slave node 1 and slave node 2 also. Now let's go ahead. Sudo, this is my slave node 1, sudo vi etc hosts. Okay, user. Here I'm going to insert my new line here, and I'm going to copy paste. Sorry, this is the one. Okay, so this is the my all three nodes and its respective host names and IP addresses. Be careful this one. Okay, so there could be always some typos here. Okay, we have done. So let's go ahead and ping google.com to make sure that my computer is online. Okay, this is perfect. 0% packet loss. Okay, and the next thing is ping slave node 1. Okay, this is already slave node, but you have to make sure that is correct. Okay, this is good. And slave node 2, this is good. You can see like my packet loss is 0%, and master node also. Finally, I need to make sure. So this is all I'm doing. I should able to connect each other. That's all about our Hadoop framework. Okay. So we are going to put more than one computer together. That is the reason I'm making sure this one. Okay. So this is done, and let's move on with our slave node 2. So same thing, sudo vi etc hosts. Okay. hdfs. Be careful with this one. If you are not typing correct one, you are not going to see this screen actually. You are going to see the blank screen, which is not good actually. So you have to see this one always. Okay. Okay. I just updated completely this one, and we need to make sure that I am connecting to my any site which is online, which is fine. Okay. Okay. That is good. And ping slave node 1. Okay, that is good. Slave node 2. Excuse me, that is good. And probably master node also. So I need to make sure definitely. Okay, this is all done. So if we have 100 computers within this cluster, you have to make sure this is done for all your 100 computers. If you're not doing for one computer, that will not be part of your cluster actually. Okay, so that's all. Is the first thing that we have to do. So one more thing, since these all are we have already updated, we already have the single node cluster on this one. If you type Hadoop version, you should be able to see the version for all computers. If you're not seeing this one, then that is something wrong with that computer, so you have to rectify that one. Okay, that is one more thing you have to make sure. You have to make sure your Hadoop version you are able to see that one by running this command in all computers. If you are not able to see this one, that is your computer is not having the Hadoop framework on that machine. So let's go ahead and run the same thing for other two computers also. Hadoop version. Okay, I'm not sure why this is taking too much time, but it's okay. Hadoop. Sorry. Yeah, can you see now here? I'm able to see my version. This is correct. See, my slave node 2 is already having the Hadoop framework on top of this one. So this will come only if you are successful with the single node cluster. The same thing you can see with my master node also I'm able to see. You can see easily you can differentiate this is the master node one and also the slave node one. Okay, still it is working, but we are going to see the same thing here also. Okay, so these are you have to make sure that all computers are having the Hadoop framework on their missions. Okay, so now let's move on with our next step. Step 3 is we have to update our configuration files. As you know here, these configuration files are very important thing. So you have to make sure you are updating this one also. Okay, so let's go ahead and update these files also. Okay, so now core-site.xml file is the one who is going to tell you where you are going to run your name node master services, right? Exactly. So that's where we are going to to this one. So obviously, let's go ahead and update my name node information. So where I'm going to run my name node, I'm going to run my name node on the master computer. Okay, so I need to give my master related details in my cores-site.xml. Let's go ahead and see that how it's going to be. Okay, so now let's go ahead and I've already updated from my master node. So let's go ahead and see that one. Okay, so now let me see that whether I got for this one. Yeah, for everything I got. Okay, this is not working. What is that? Slave node 1 is still online only, right? Okay, let me check that. Okay, so let's go ahead and run one more time this version. Okay, so that should come back. Okay, it came. Okay, so it came. So this is having the correct version. Okay. So correct version, at least I'm having the Hadoop software on this machine. That's all you have to make sure. So now let's move on with our updating our cores-site.xml. Just open the master file. Let's clear up this one. Okay, so let's all the way go to your this thing. Okay, probably you can just follow this document instead of going your own way. So just go this way, cores-site.xml, and try to copy the same thing. Make sure you are replacing your IP address here. The same thing with others also. Okay, with other whatever you are followed so far, you have to replace with your IP address. Okay, so now you can see here within this one HDFS, probably you might be seeing the local host there. So you have to change this one to your IP address of your master node. Again, I'm repeating, this is the IP address of your master node at 8020. You can give the 9000 or 8020, which one, whatever it is, that is fine actually. Okay, so now you have to update this one. That's what I gave in my document also. So try to update this one and exit out of this. Okay, so I did not edit anything. That is the reason I'm just quitting without savings. But you have to do the same thing with your master computer. Remember, this is a master computer. Okay, now what is next thing? I have to update my hdfs-site.xml. hdfs-site.xml we already discussed. What is the purpose of having hdfs-site.xml? We are going to specify what is our data node metadata location which we are going to store in our disk. What is our name node metadata location that we are going to specify, the disk location, and also the replication factor, and also you can have your block size also here. Okay, so you can do here. So I'm going to just I've already updated here, so let me go ahead and view that. Okay, so here you can see this one which I've already updated the block size and the replication factor and also data node metadata and name node metadata. All this information is already there. So just try to copy the same thing here. So you might not be seeing all this information, but you have to make sure this one also is there. Okay, so now I'm going to the same thing. What is our next thing? yarn-site.xml. This is very important thing where, as you know, this is related to your map redis. Map redis is the one who is going to tell about where your resource manager is running, where your scheduler will be running, where your node manager is going to run. All those information can be found in this one only. That is the reason you can see here. You might not be seeing all this information. You have to copy this one. Whatever I gave in this document, you have to copy by replacing your IP address. That's all. Don't change these port numbers. You have to change only the IP address. So try to keep your IP address whatever you got for your node, and try to keep there and try to close this one. Okay. So that's all. So we are done with the cores-site.xml, hdfs-site.xml, yarn-site.xml. The next thing here is, as you know here, two things you have to understand. One thing here is you will be having the two files actually. One is slave files, one more is the master file actually. So if you go and see here, probably instead of explaining that, if I show you that one. Okay. So here you have two files, slave files and master file. Okay, in the slave files, what and all data nodes that are going to act as a slave files, you have to mention them in this slave files. Okay, let's go ahead and cat this one. I have already updated this one. Let's go ahead and see this one. If this file is not exist, you have to create and you have to put your what and all nodes that are going to act as a slave nodes. Master node, because my master node is going to, I'm going to enable the data node services and the slave services all. I mean, I'm master services as well as slave services. So I'm going to have use master node as also the data node. So this is 3 node cluster with 3 data nodes also. Okay, and data node 1. So this is not the data node 1. So we have to update as a slave node 1. So let's go ahead and update that one. Bi slave, right? That is not the data node 1. So we have to have a slave node 1, slave node 2, right? So that's how we had. Okay, so now let's go ahead and close this. Okay, the same thing, you have to update the master's file only on the master computer. These also we have done on the master computer, but since you are going to have only one node as a master node, so you are going to update only the master file on the master node only. So what is the master node? Master node, this is the host name. Okay, you are not going to give any IP address. Okay, so just I gave that one. That's all. So once these files are updated on the master node, what we are going to do here is we need to copy this all files except master file. You have to copy 4 files: cores-site.xml, hdfs-site.xml, yarn-site.xml, and also slave files. You have to copy these 4 files into your data nodes actually. If you have 100 data nodes, you have 100 data nodes, you have to copy this one. So let's go ahead and see that one. That is our next step actually. So now we have updated my master file, we have updated my slave files. So if you are not seeing your master file and slave file, you have to update that one accordingly. If you are not seeing them, that is the rule actually. Okay, by default it might not be seeing them, but you can create manually. Okay, so now let's go ahead and proceed with our next step. So what is our next step here is we have to copy. So let's go ahead and copy using this scp command. So let me put in my notepad so that I can do this one. So I'm copying from cores-site.xml, map rate, yar, hdfs, and slaves to my slave node 1, right? So this location. So this way I'm going to make sure that whatever configuration settings that I have on the master node, I can see them on my slave nodes also, right? So let's go ahead and copy. So you have to copy, you have to run this command where your files exist, then only it will run, because you are not going to use the absolute path. Key fail, lost the connection. Sorry, what was the issue with the user? Okay, 1 minute. Okay, so let me run one more time. Okay, why is this not going? Remote host identification has changed. Host slave node 2. Okay, let me copy to my slave node 2. Let's see. User. Okay, that's all. I copied to data node 2, slave node 2. Then what happened to my slave node 1? What happened to my slave node 1? Okay, 1 minute. Something wrong with my slave node 1. Let's fix it. Okay, I fixed it. There was a issue with this host. Actually, you can see that remote host identification has changed, because since I was playing around with this one already, so there was a SSH key already was there. So I just what I did. So in order to, I mean, you're not going to see this error because you're going to connect first time. So you have to run this one is SSH keygen rename your this one. So I'm going to rename my host one to hold. That is the reason I just, when I ran this one, I was able to copy this one. Okay, so now just give yes and yes. So it's connecting to, trying to connect each other using SSH. So next time it won't prompt for the password actually. So this is perfect. So now I was able to copy my all files from my master node to slave node 1 and slave node 2. That is successful. So now let's go ahead and proceed with our next step. Okay. The step 6 is delete the metadata from all our data nodes. So what is this means here is, probably when we had our single node cluster, we might have started our daemons and all. So by that time you might have already created some metadata. So in order to just remove the data, what we have to do, just go ahead and remove that metadata to clean your HDFS very clean and clear. So to do that, so let me show that how the metadata, probably we have seen in our classes, but let me show that one. Hadoop user DFS. So if you are going with the name node metadata, correct, you can see this is your metadata. So you have to clean this one, then only you can use this one, because we might have created something or you might have started your daemons. When you start your daemons, you are going to see your metadata, edits file, fs image file, version file and all. So we are going to delete that. So what I'm going to do here is remove -f current star. I'm going to remove everything what is there in this one. So I clean my metadata. The same way we have to do for my name node also. You can see both the metadata will be there. Data node metadata, name node metadata. So we have removed the name node metadata. I'm going to do the same thing for data node metadata. So how I'm going to do this one here is, you can check here. Okay, what I'm going to do here is go to data. Okay, so you can see, I mean, in under current also you might be seeing non metadata. So I'm going to delete that one. So how I'm going to delete? Remove -f current star. Okay, probably you can give R. So since there is a one more directory within that, you can give R. So that is deleted. The same steps you have to perform for data node 1 and slave node 1 and slave node 2, which is my data nodes. Okay, so let's go ahead and run the direct command. I'm not going to show you again the metadata what is there in my slave node 1 and slave node 2. I'm just going to run my, that's all. Okay, so this is out, and the same thing I need to do my slave node 2 also. Okay, and this is done. And the metadata is done. So we have cleaned everything here now. So now let's go ahead and see what is our next step. So we have done 6 steps so far. Okay, so I hope you are clear. Please pause here and try to look back, and if you are missing anything, if you are not able to catch up here. Okay, so now let's go ahead and see our, so now so far we have done with this one. So now let's go ahead and format our system, which is nothing but formatting your name node. So now let's go ahead and format Hadoop name node format. That's all. This has to be run from the master node. I just change the color to make sure that, okay, to differentiate between the master and also slave services. That is the reason I change the color. So whenever you see this white background, that is my master node. So that is where you have to do the same operation from your master node actually. Okay, let's go ahead and update my name node format. Okay, so reformat in storage, yes. So we are going to delete everything. So once this will be very careful in our production later, since it is our test environment, we can play around with this. So now we did everything. So now what is our next part? We can go ahead and start our daemons actually. Let's go ahead and start our daemons from our master node. Okay. So now let's go ahead and start my DFS daemons. Okay. DFS daemons, as you know, you can start with dot start dfs.sh. So this is going to start my data node on my master node, as well as my data node 1, data node 2, which is my slave node 1 and slave node 2. That you have to understand. The second thing here is it's going to start my secondary name node on the master node, because I gave by the secondary name node as a master node, and also my, what is the next thing? name node also I'm going to start on the master node, not on the data nodes. On the data node, slave node 1 and slave node 2, on the two machines, I'm going to start only the data node part because it's only DFS services. Okay, let's go and start them. Okay, it's asking for the connecting to yes, then give yes. Okay, so you can see that it's connected to my node and it has started my name node here and it's starting my data node on the master node, and also it's going to start on my data nodes also, slave node 1 and slave node 2 also. So far it started the name node and data node on my master node. Okay, it's stuck here probably because of this RSA host key is differs from this one. So let's go ahead and kill this one and see what is being done here. Okay, so I'm going to kill the process. Now let's go ahead and see what and all I've started. So can you see now here name node and data node I have started. So let's go ahead and stop them. Okay, so obviously I need to stop them because they are going to delete that RSA key. Probably you are not going to see this issue for you first time when you're doing, but it's okay. So this kind of lesson one, let's go ahead and see that. Stopping my name node and the master node. So if you see on my secondary name, my slave node 1 and slave node 2, I should not able to, I should not see any my uh, daemons actually. So you can see here JPS, if you give here my slave node 2, I don't see anything, and on the slave node 1 also I don't see anything here. Can you see now here? There is no any daemons are running because I was not able to connect to this machine using my master computer. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, let's go ahead and fix that RSA key part. Okay, so all you have to do just to rename whatever we just did that. We have to do the same thing here. Then we have to copy again my files, hdfs-site, because to make sure that I have the same RSA key on both sides. Okay. Okay, still it is topic. Let's wait for that. Okay, I just stopped everything and you can see here if I give JPS here, I should not able to see anything. Okay, so there is no daemons have started so far. So let's go ahead and fix this issue. So in order to do this one, either we have to rename my existing host file to or different one so that I can regenerate my SSH key so that I can talk each other. That RSA host key will be again regenerated. So let's try to fix that one. So I'm going to run on my master computer. So master node. Okay, the same thing. Let me run on my slave node one. Okay, and let's do the same thing on my slave node 2 also. So now we renamed everything here to my host to old one. So let's go ahead and do the same step what we did here earlier. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy one more time so that I'm going to generate the SH or RSA key one more time to talk each other. Yes, HD user. Okay, I'm sorry, we are not running from the there, so we have to go there. etc Hadoop is where we have to run our command. That is the reason it's saying no files form. Okay, so now yes, perfect. It is done. So let's go ahead and do the same thing for my slave node 2. Yes, it have wrong password. Perfect. So it's copied everything. So it is whatever it was there, I have overridden everything. So let's go ahead and now start my daemons. Okay, so now if you see my master node, let me go back to my spin, and let's go ahead and start my daemons. Start dfs.sh. Okay, this should resolve my issue. Let's see. Okay, so if you do JPS, I was able to fix that one. And if you see JPS on your master node, I can see data node, secondary name node, and name node I started on my master node. So let's go ahead and see the same thing on my data nodes also. Slave node 1 and slave node 2. Let's go ahead and see that one. Okay, got stuck 1 minute. Okay, so now this is my slave node 2. Let's open my slave node 1. Okay, this is my slave node 1. Let's go ahead and do the JPS. So can you see now here my data node is running on my slave node 1. The same thing you can go and check in the slave node JPS. My slave node, my data node is running on my slave node 2. So now let's go ahead and just view our name node structure actually. If you go and see now here, probably you can pull from our IP address, right? Let's go ahead and pull IP address instead of going into the host computer. So my IP address of my master node is 192.168.0.9, right? So let's go ahead and pull that. So now you can see here, this is when I have started and all. So now you can see my DFS, and before that you can see how many live nodes I have. 3 live nodes I have, which is nothing but 3 computers I have connected together. So you can see here all together the configure capacity which I put all together almost 20 from each computer. So this is the 63.18 my entire cluster capacity including DFS and non-DFS. Out of the DFS you can see 0% is so far. The non-DFS is a local 24.8 GB already used. Okay, the DFS remaining is this much. So out of this one, this much is there. So which is there almost 60% I have allocated for my DFS. So since I did not use anything the DFS, so you can see around 61% is there here. The same thing, and I mean, this is all we have discussed very thoroughly. But one thing you have to understand here is the DFS is earlier we used to see around 6-7 GB, but you can see 38 GB. So which is nothing but my DFS capacity, which we have discussed very thoroughly in our classes. The DFS capacity is the contribution of 3 data nodes here. Your master node is 1 data node, your slave node is the second data node, slave node 2 is the third data node. So you can see that information by going into your data nodes actually. Okay, can you see now here exactly what we are discussing in our classes? You can see here. So these are my all data nodes. Okay, slave node 1, master node, and slave node 2, because my master node is also going to act as a slave node in this case. So this is the last contact. What I mean by this one here is heartbeat. We have discussed very thoroughly heartbeat. So if you refresh this one, every 2 seconds I am getting the heartbeat. Okay, so this will not be going more than, if any one of the data node is going, if we are seeing more than 3-4, which is nothing but one of your data node is not sending the heartbeat to your name node. Okay, you can see this one. So it's all in service. So you can see the capacity out of your each data node, how much I've used, how much non-DFS I've used out of each one. You can see overall if you put together, that's what you have seen the overview in our name node information. But this is the data node information. Out of each data node, how much I've used for the non-DFS, how much is remaining. Okay, the block pool ID used is something like that. How much the DFS I have used. DFS pool this one. So you can see all individual level information from the each data node. If you have 100 nodes here, you're going to see the 100 nodes one by one here. So still you can see here, you can see the last contact is 2 seconds back, 0 seconds back, which is nothing but I'm still seeing the heartbeat kind of thing. So the same thing here you can see pool ID and all. Then you can see the version. So as you know here, I can have the different version in my different version in my each data node. So that is the reason you can have the different Hadoop version also here. So this is all about the multi-node cluster. We are very successful in creating the multi-node cluster now. So just try to follow this video and you should able to create this multi-node cluster. The same thing, you can go ahead and start the MapReduce services also. All you have to do, just go ahead and start the MapReduce services, which I'm not going to do here. That is very simple. So that's how you start your from the master node services. All you have to do, just go into the master node services instead of DFS, start yarn-site.xml, how we do on a single node cluster. So that is going to connect to my other data nodes also. It's going to start my yarn services also. So if, since we are going to deal with your only this one, so that is the reason it's okay to have this. So now if you go into this browse here, so I don't have any files here because I did not create anything so far. So if you go ahead and create anything first, so first and foremost thing you have to use the HD user, then we are going to create that one. Let's go ahead and create probably, since we are here, let me create one thing. Okay, so now Hadoop fs mkdir dash e user hd user. Okay, I'm just creating the my I'm creating my home directory. So now if you go and see here, the same way here, you should be able to see my user hd user. So let's go ahead and copy some files. So what is the replication factor that we had? I think the replication factor, if you go and check your hdfs-site.xml, I think we had, okay, we had one. So let's go ahead and change that one. So it's very simple. Let's go ahead and change my replication factor to 3. Okay, so so that if you are going to copy any file, that will be placed in a 3 different that each replica is going to store in a each replica is going to store in a different data node. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so let's go ahead and Hadoop underscore home etc Hadoop NL, and here one thing that you have to do here is cores-site.xml cat hdfs-site.xml. So the replication factor is 2. Let's go ahead and change to 3. So we have to make the change. So probably you have to make sure when you're copying this one, try to have 3 itself so that you can practice this one also. Let me go ahead and change here. So I need to change the same thing in all my files, because in all my data nodes I need to, or I have to copy the same thing. Either one I can do. So hdfs site.xml. So let's go ahead and change this one to, okay, the same way. Let's go ahead and do in that slave node 1 also. cd this one here bi hdfs site.xml. I'm going to change this one to, okay, the same thing. Let's go ahead and do my slave node 2 also. bi hdfs site.xml. Okay, then let's go ahead and change this one to, okay. Okay, so now we change this one. So let's go ahead and go to the master node and try to create one more directory. Hadoop, let's clear this one. Hadoop fs mkdir uh, multinode. Okay, I'm just going to give that the multinode is the directory. Okay, hypho Okay, I'm just creating my one more directory, and you can see my directory is not going to. We have discussed very thoroughly all these concepts. My directory is not going to create anywhere on my data. So, okay, so now it will be created in the pool. So let's go ahead and move or copy some of the files. Okay, what files I have here? Any file. Okay, so let's go ahead and take whatever file. Okay, so probably this one. Okay, ctrack underscore java or whatever file. Okay, just take this one. Just read.txt file. Okay, Hadoop fs dash put this one into what was the this one multi-node. Okay, multi-node. So here I'm not going to discuss anything about HDFS because we have already seen very thoroughly in our classes. Okay, we are just copying the readme.txt file into my HDFS file system. So now this will be having the replication factories 3. Let's go ahead and see this. Okay. Okay, there was a typo. I did not give slash here. That is the reason it just went with this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and so I just put it the same level. That is the reason I was not able to. That is my bad. I just missed. Okay, so what I'm going to do here. That is my bad. I did not give slash here. That was the reason I was not able to create this one. So Hadoop fs rm multi. Okay, so this is deleted. Let's do the same thing again. Okay, so now I'm going to put this one within this file system. Okay, so let me go ahead and just hit enter. Okay, okay. So now I just copied into multi-node directory. So let's go ahead and see that one. No such file and directory. What was our directory name? Sorry, what was our directory name? There is no TI. Okay. All types. Okay. It's good. All are for learning purpose. So you should be able to see all these errors also, which I'm showing in this video. Okay. Now we copy it. So let's go ahead and see this one here. Can you see now here? I copied my file. Replication factor is 3. Block size is 128. But my file size is only 33 MB. Block size is 128 MB, which is less than my block size. So my file cannot be more than one block size. So I can see only block 0. But this block 0 is present. The availability you can see. In my classes, we used to see only one single node. But you can see here the block 0 is there in slave node 1, master node, and slave node 2, because the replication factor is 3. So I have to put each copy in a different data node. So that is the reason I just change the replication factor to 3, so that you can easily see that the availability of my block 0 is this one. So if I have more than one block 1, so you can select this one too. If you are selecting block 1, that will change to where it is available. This also you can see very easily. Okay. So I hope you got this multi-node cluster, what I'm trying to say. If you have any questions, please contact me. You know my email address. So I'm again repeating this one again. Shiva 509203 at gmail.com. Okay, you can contact me on this email ID. So I will try to get back to you on this one. Thanks for watching this video again. So talk to you later. Thank you. Bye.